We are on the ground across the country today, covering all the campaigns. Donald Trump is in Florida, and his running mate J.D. Vance is in Michigan. Let's go to Mar-a-Lago with what Trump had to say earlier today.
Her message has been a message of hate and division, and my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. There's never been a coalition like this. Everybody's included. And on issue after issue, she broke it. They broke it together. But for purposes of this election, she broke it. Can't let her go. And I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it very fast. And on the illegal, thank you very much. Thank you very much. On the illegal immigrants that will be taken out of the country, as you know, we're going to be taking them out. And if they come back, we have laws that will be immediately enacted where they serve 10 years in prison. They won't come back. And if that's not long enough, we'll have to do something else. But we don't want them back. They're not going to come back. And as you know, we're asking for the death penalty for any migrant who comes into our country and kills an American citizen or a police or law enforcement person. Because we have to protect our police. Our police are under siege also at numbers that nobody thought were possible, the worst they've ever seen. It's very hard to recruit. And really for not just the danger, it's hard to recruit because they don't have the spirit anymore for our country because they're being led with people that are spiritless. They really are spiritless. They can't instill spirit. But so that's any citizen, they get killed, it's a death penalty, and that includes police or law enforcement officers. But we're going to revive our economy. We're going to use a system of very fair, very reasonable tariffs. As I said, so powerful. We've never used them. I used them. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars, and no other president's gotten 10 cents from China. China had a free ride, but so did many other countries. European Union is taking advantage of us. They don't take our product, and yet we take their product all over the place. We take their farming product. We take their cars left and right, right? BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, millions and millions. They don't take our cars. I said to Angela Merkel at the time, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why? I don't believe you have any. I said, you're right about that, Angela. Well, we're going to change it. But they don't take our product. We have a deficit with them of over $300 billion. Think of that. And people think of them as friendly, but they're very tough and very fair. I mean, look, they united in order to take advantage of the United States. That's why they united. That's why they formed their coalition.
And you're watching live right now former President Donald Trump making a last-minute stop at Mar-a-Lago to speak to his supporters and eventually take some questions from the media. CBS News campaign reporter Jake Rosen joins us now with more on Donald Trump. And the former president reiterated much of the same rhetoric we've sort of heard over the last few months. What else have you heard that stuck out?
Well, he also, in addition to the claims about immigration and the policies that he has laid out, those ones that you just heard, he has been saying since the beginning of his campaign. But he also has been pivoting in recent weeks, as we've covered at CBS, about communities that have been impacted by immigration, those like Springfield, Ohio, and Aurora, Colorado. He's tagged the term Operation Aurora to make an effort when he, or if he is elected, to deport some of these transnational gangs that he claims have taken over these communities. Obviously, the mayor of Aurora said that that is not true, and that while there is a gang presence, that is not the case, that there are full apartment buildings or parts of the town being taken over. But he also pledged to take some of those assets, if they're seized, and reapply those, and once they're liquidated, to families of people who have been impacted by transnational gangs and gang members. In addition to that, he also brought the mother of a young woman who was killed by an illegal immigrant onto the stage, which has become kind of a feature at some of these more intimate campaign settings. We saw it just last week in Texas, where Donald Trump brought out the mother of Jocelyn Nungari, another young girl who was illegally killed by an illegal migrant. That has been, again, a through line of this campaign from the beginning, but we've seen kind of in these intimate events, the campaign really bringing together voices and local business owners who have been impacted, but also families who have been impacted by these claims that he lays out.
All right, CBS News campaign reporter Jake Rosen, thanks so much. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris prepares for what's being dubbed her closing argument speech tonight. She looks to lay out a clear vision for the future and a firm list of goals for her administration ahead of Election Day. CBS News campaign reporter Aaron Navarro is in Washington, where Harris prepares to make that speech. The location of her closing arguments is meant to deliver an even bigger message to voters. Aaron, what is the symbolic importance of this site?
Liz, good to be with you. Her campaign says they chose this site for two reasons. One, you have the White House in the background, and Harris in her speech will lay out the two contrasts between her vision for the country and Trump's vision for the country, and ask the voters, the people in attendance, bluntly, who do you want to see in that White House? Someone like Trump, who she says is focused on his grievances, or someone like me who will lower costs and be focused on the American people. But the second reason, and this may be doing a lot of the heavy work in terms of the topic of democracy, is that this was the same site where Trump stood and gave a speech on January 6th on the ellipse. And while we're expecting to see and hear Harris talk about the economy and maybe more generic contrasts when it comes to the vision for the country, this topic of democracy has popped up in her speeches recently, and the location will really lend a lot to that topic tonight.
And Aaron, Harris has already secured support from Congresswoman Liz Cheney. Now, Barbara Bush, the former President George W. Bush's daughter, is throwing her support behind Harris. What more do we know about these endorsements?
We know that the Harris campaign for months now has been treating disaffected Republicans, maybe those more Reagan, Bush, even Romney, McCain Republicans, as part of their coalition. They have held several events with Liz Cheney on the campaign trail. Barbara Bush told People magazine, revealed that she was campaigning, knocking on doors for Harris and her campaign in Pennsylvania over the weekend. And the campaign is really treating this as part of their electorate, just as they're treating Black and Latino voters in the cities as well as those in the suburbs.
Aaron Navarro covering all things Harris campaign for us. Thanks so much.